Hello and welcome to another video from Fantasy Football Scouts. This is a new live stream that we're going to be doing every Saturday morning. We've called it Breakfast Club, and the idea is that each morning we have a chat about our teams ahead of the deadline and also look on live in shock at the lunchtime team sheet, which probably will have a shock for us in about a quarter of an hour because it's Man City against Wolves, so Man City team sheet. So if you want to watch three men look shocked over their breakfast, then you come to the right place. Today I'm joined by David, welcome.
Hello.
And also special guest, FPL General, aka Mark, welcome.
Hi guys, how you doing?
Yes, good. So what we're going to do in the show, we're going to go through our teams, reveal our teams, and then we're going to look on in shock at the Man City team sheet. And also we have an exclusive today. Mark has been in touch, other Mark, Fantasy Football Scout Mark, who has finalised his wildcard team. And so we're delighted we can reveal all. So, well, FPL General, let's have a look at your team then. So we've got it up on screen. Did you make any changes first off? And if so, who went out and who came in?
Yeah, it was just I only had one free transfer coming into game week 3. So what I've done is Jota's gone and Pedro's come in. So I missed the price changes earlier in the week. I'm someone who doesn't like to move too early, so I missed the Jota price fall, and then I couldn't go straight to Mkhitaryan, which probably would have been my move if I could afford it. But I've settled for Pedro now. Don't think there's too much between Mkhitaryan and Pedro, so I'm hopeful he keeps his place over the next 2 or 3 weeks, and with Chelsea's good fixtures, hopefully he can do well for me. I was actually tempted to play wildcard. I've never played a wildcard this early, but I was very tempted. It's been a frustrating start to the season. I think I'm about 500k.
That's not bad,
which is not terrible. It's probably I was actually similarly ranked last season, but it just feels worse this season because of all the big hitters who've gone on fire early. So like going for Eriksen over Mane, things like that have hurt. So the temptation was there, but I've managed to resist.
I think this is so. Have you got one more transfer? Are you carrying a transfer, or have you already used, two transfers?
No, I just had one this week because last week I did Van Dijk to Mendy last week, so I only had one for this game week. So if I had two this week, it probably would have been different, and I probably would have been looking to get Mane in. I was considering taking a -4 for Mane this week for Eriksen, but I avoid hits wherever I can, so I've decided against that move.
So looking at that, so you got Eriksen. Now, when we come to my team, I'll reveal what I've done with him. I'm guessing are you going to hold out because you've got Josh King as well. Now he's another one that people have been dumping in their droves. So I quite like this because I like a patient approach. I haven't actually done it today, but you have kept hold of these players. Are you hoping that in Eriksen's case he's going to defy the fixture, and obviously in King's place he's going to rediscover his form because he's got a good fixture?
Yeah, and I would throw Ben Davis into the mix as well. So there's 3 players who I could have easily got rid of this week due to them frustrating me in the early game weeks. But again, I do tend to take the patient approach, and it served me well in the past. And a player like Eriksen, I think you got to keep him, over a good stretch, a couple of weeks to get the benefits out of him. He's probably a bit like De Bruyne and Hazard as well. They're kind of set and forget players that you kind of just got to be patient with.
Yeah, you know they're going to start.
The reason I kept Eriksen in the end was looking at the stats. His stats surprised me actually. The eye test didn't really impress me watching Spurs in game week 2, but the stats, I think he had more touches in the opposition in the final third than any other midfielder. United have been pretty poor as well, so I'm going to give Eriksen 2 more weeks. He got Watford game week 4.
Okay, when I come to my team, I'll reveal why I just sighed because I also looked at those stats with Eriksen. I was impressed by them, but I'm not quite as patient as you. So you got Salah captain, a no-brainer this week for you.
Yeah, it's an easy one. After the debacle last week, I went for Salah last week as well. So I just think the home fixture for Liverpool against Brighton, it's too hard to resist, and it's an easy captain choice for me this week.
And when we get the Man City team sheet, so you've got Aguero, Mendy. Surely they'll both start, but if say one doesn't, you've got Peltier and Stevens. there. So you probably hope that's not a great bench, is it? And I know because mine's very similar. Are you okay with one of those two coming in?
Yeah, we're 10 minutes away from team news. So if one of those guys don't start, you could lose me from this call because I'll be very very frustrated and I might just hang
Oh
up.
right, you just
But
literally just literally just throw the computer in the air and leave.
yeah, you'll just see the laptop going out the
Well,
window.
do you know what?
I'm not really confident in my bench this week. Obviously, Wan-Bissaka is banned, and Peltier, he may have lost his place now. So I really need my starting 11 all to show up this week.
Okay. Well, obviously that wouldn't be good news for the technology involved with this, but obviously for our viewers, they would love to see someone just go absolutely crazy. David, let's have a look at your team then. So, who's come in? Who's come out?
So some of you may have seen on Twitter, I've finally lost patience with Lacazette, and a lot of it was around those quotes. And I know that they definitely didn't say that Lacazette and Aubameyang wouldn't necessarily play in the same team. I know he wasn't saying they wouldn't play at the same time. He was talking about the formation, but he was talking about he wanted to control possession in the game, and the approach he kind of wanted to take wasn't like we're going to go all out, just all attack. I want possession. So at the time, it kind of made sense to me that it would probably be Özil and Mkhitaryan were going to be in, and Lacazette wouldn't. Obviously, it's now transpired that Özil's probably not going to play. I've switched to Mkhitaryan. I basically upgraded Lennon into Mkhitaryan and downgraded Lacazette into Ings. So I'm still in on the Arsenal attack, so I'm fairly happy with that, and I think there's less risk over Mkhitaryan long term anyway.
Have you got have you got much money in the bank there, or any?
Yeah, I've actually got a fair bit. I've actually worked out that if I could do it now if I wanted to, but I don't. I could take Aguero out and get Kane now, just straight swap.
So you got around just over 1 million just sitting there.
Yeah.
Ooh, nice.
Which I can't really, I don't really see any point in using it this week because it would mean a hit. I mean, I could if I wanted. Well, we got 5 minutes. I could do Bernardo Silva to Richarlison. He's kind of like the one guy that I've kind of feel like I should have. But a lot of people have had Richarlison instead of Mane, and I've had Mane who's basically matched Richarlison so far, so it hasn't been too bad. So I'm fairly happy, fairly confident.
I mean, I think so. Richarlison is obviously a great player. He's sitting in my team, but I do look at those underlying stats, and for most players, that's unsustainable. That level of shots and goals. So I mean, Richarlison's a player that I would put in a kind of a lower category. Kind of, he's a good player to get in, but you wouldn't just go absolutely crazy to get him. Whereas I think I would put Mendy, who's in all of our squads. I think Mendy's a player you definitely want to get in, even if he's benched today. I just think long term he has got all of the points in him: clean sheets, goals, assists, everything. I think he's got it all in him there. Same with Alonso's a good one there. So yeah, I think so. It's a bit like, I guess, like for anyone who is very young or has got kids and watches Pixar movies. Basically, you've got an elite Pixar and DreamWorks movies. You've got the elite, you've got your Shreks, and you've got your Toy Story, and then you've got a kind of a lesser bit like Over the Hedge or something like that, which is kind of okay. But it's not like, you wouldn't like go, oh, come on kids, let's watch Over the Hedge, whereas you would with Toy Story, particularly Toy Story 2. Yeah, I think that's the thing there. So so it could be that you might be making an emergency transfer if you get the time. I mean, with my team, I've done, basically I've got rid of Josh King and Ericsson, so I've done exactly the opposite of the general here. I've just lost patience, and I was looking at the price rises and falls, and so I got Mkhitaryan in. I do like Arsenal's fixtures. I'm fairly convinced he's going to be safe, so I'm quite happy with that. And Ings, a player I like. I'll just give him a go. He's the third striker, really. I do like to mix it up with the third strikers. I've got a feeling that Josh King is going to punish me today against Everton.
I think he will. Yeah, that's why I've kept him.
And I possibly should have just done that one move. Now I have in the bank, brace yourselves, I've got 3.3 million in the bank sitting there, because next week I'm leaving myself the chance of Bernardo Silva to Hazard, and because Hazard has Bournemouth at home. Hazard versus Bournemouth is goals. That's just the way it is. It's one of the unwritten laws. And then he's got Cardiff at home. I've mentioned many times on the Scoutcast, Cardiff are absolutely atrocious. They have no right to be in the Premier League. So that's great, really. So I applaud FPL General getting Pedro in as well. So I really want Hazard. If Hazard pops off to Real Madrid, well, I'll get someone else in, perhaps Mane, or perhaps do nothing. But yeah, I've just got a feeling Bernardo Silva long term, I'm not sure. I'm fairly certain he's going to. Well, I hope he's going to start. But it's quite. I just feel he seems to be moving back a little bit rather than in attacking positions. He doesn't. He's kind of turned into more like a utility. I guess a kind of James Milner type, as in we want him to play. Where should we put him? What, doesn't matter. Just bung him anywhere. And I kind of not so keen on those types of players. But I don't know. Keep him there. So got high hopes for Mkhitaryan. Danny Ings, give him a go. Like both of you there, Salah captain. Now, when the team sheets come in a couple of minutes, I've got Bolly and Stevens to come in, should there be any benchings. So I'm not happy with that. FPL General, what's your, just looking at your team, do you have any particular plans for next week? I know it's thinking ahead a bit, but just before we get that Man City team sheets in. So I'm looking at Hazard there. Is there anyone you've got in mind? Do you map out transfers like I do, kind of a week in advance?
It's something I tend not to do. I don't like kind of booking in transfers a week or two in advance because so much changes then once the game week plays out. Sometimes I do, like you've done, keeping the cash aside for Hazard and things like that. But at this point in time, I haven't looked ahead to game week 3, so I don't have anything set in stone at the moment. There's a couple of players on the chopping block. Like, I said I'm probably going to give Eriksen 2 more weeks, but maybe Ben Davis and Josh King, if they disappoint me again, I'll probably want to part ways with those. But nothing set in stone for game week 4 yet.
Okay, and what about you, David? Are you thinking in advance, or are you just live for the moment?
This is definitely the last week for Josh King. As has already been mentioned, really, like if he's not going to score against an Everton defence, then he's not really worth having. Bernardo Silva is, potentially on the way out. We've got to see what happens today with the team sheet, where he plays, etc. They're the two that I would look to move on. Who I'd replace him with, not entirely sure. I'm with the General. Like, so much can change. I mean, we could all be saying come Monday night that we all need an individual we haven't thought about yet. So Chelsea probably I need to cover, but we'll see.
Yeah, so have we got any team sheets in yet? What time is it now?
The team sheet is
seconds away, a minute away.
Yeah, it's probably seconds away. I'm just checking TweetDeck now. Everything's all flying through. We get everybody's tweeting their teams, as in their fantasy Premier League teams. So I want some real teams.
Now ahead of this, now Mark, you've already said that when you get disappointing news like this, you go crazy. Is this a typical time for Saturday morning for you? Are you basically around waiting for the team sheet, finalising your team? How does it? Have we prized you away from something, or is this pretty usual for you as a fantasy manager?
Yeah, this is usually me refreshing Twitter now at 11:29, waiting for the team news, especially when it's Man City. So yeah, I usually have my transfers done Friday night, and then Saturday morning like to just kind of follow Twitter for the hour before deadline and watch everyone panic.
Okay, so I think we've got the team news in.
Yeah, it's here. Yeah.
David, do you want to do the honours and read out who we've got for Man City first, please?
I'll keep the suspense and I'll build from the back, shall I?
Build from the back.
We'll leave strikers till last. Yeah.
Yes.
So in goal is Edison.
Yes.
It looks like a back four of Mendy.
Hooray!
Yes, definitely there. Laporte and company, so no Stones. And Walker comes back in at right back. Then we've got 2 deep midfielders, Fernandinho and Gundogan.
Yes.
Then we've got it's hard. It might be a 4-3-3. We're not too sure, but elsewhere in midfield is David Silva.
Yes.
And Bernardo Silva.
Hooray!
So they're both there. Then in the front line, in no particular order, so we don't know who's where in the front line. Raheem Sterling.
Ooh.
And Sergio Aguero. It's all fine.
So it's just those two. Just those two up front there.
Yeah, that's right. Well, it might be a 4-3-3. So I think Sam Lee, he's obviously clued up on Man City, is saying it's possibly a 4-3-3 with Bernardo, Aguero, and Sterling in the front three. But we'll have to sort of see how it lines up. That could be a 4-2-3-1 if it needs to be. So
this is bad news for Stones owners. It's bad news for Mahrez owners. That Mahrez price plummeting alert. He's on red alert. He is just going to drop faster than a Lehman Brothers check in 19 whenever it was, or 2000 whenever it was, and Jesus as well. So Jesus possibly the home guy really, or it could be against certain sides. Maybe he thinks this Wolves side don't need a Jesus there, but he did at Huddersfield. So it's quite interesting going there. What do you think of this FPL Gem? Are you happy with that lineup?
Well, it's just relief. First of all, it's always relief when you get your players on the team sheet with Pep. So yeah, it's interesting. Mahrez on the bench again, because I know a lot of people, backed him game week 1 and have probably held on to him maybe with the hope that he would play this week after his benching last week. So probably time to let Mahrez go now. I'm just happy that I avoided the midfield and I got Ederson, Mendy, and Aguero, because they're probably a bit safer than the midfielders.
Yeah, I mean, I like the look of Bernardo Silva in this lineup more than I did in the other one. I'm hoping he seems to be one of the mids that's more attacking. I'm hoping that's the case there. What about any Wolves players? So I've got Bolly to come in, possibly for Luke Shaw if he gets injured. About either of you two, looking at your team. So Mark, you got your Wolves free, are you? And David,
I'm Wolves free as well. Yeah,
you're Wolves free.
Yeah, I massively wanted to avoid this particular fixture. I hope for your sake, Joe, that you don't end up with Bolly coming in. That would be quite frustrating.
I am. My only hope with Bolly, because I've got a feeling he's going to come in for Luke Shaw, because I think Luke Shaw's time's up probably, is a Bolly goal. One of those games where Man City hammer aside 6-1 and there's one score. That one goal is an improbable set-piece goal from a centre-back. So that's what I'm holding up for. So we've had the team sheets in. People have seen our delight. So let's have a look at Mark's team. This is not Mark FPL General. This is Fantasy Football Scout Mark. So yeah, he is. He has gone for. This is good actually. I like his team now. Yesterday I gave his team a bit of a hard time. Lots of magic beans there, but yeah, he's gone for this Fabry Hennessy link up there, and Mkhitaryan as well, and Aubameyang, and he's still kept Wilson, and he's gone for Sessegnon. Now Sessegnon's the only one I'm a bit feel a bit strange, but yeah, Mark, what do you think about this?
So he's gone Sessegnon. Has he gone Mitrovic as well?
He's gone. No, he's gone out with Mitrovic. He's just got Sessegnon now and Fabry as his film. So he's gone for. He's upgraded. He's gone for Aubameyang and Aguero up top with Wilson there, and then Richarlison, Salah, Mkhitaryan, and Sessegnon, and then he's got Mendy, Alonso, and Trent Alexander-Arnold as well. So there's the main ones. Yeah, I don't know. That looks quite balanced to me.
Yeah, I think it's a lot better than the one that I seen yesterday. I do think if I was wildcarding this week, I would have been trying to get Aubameyang in as well, because a lot of the people who've done well game week 1 and 2 probably don't have Aubameyang. So I think if you were wildcarding this week, he had to go in, I think. Okay, and
and just quickly, David, because we basically I've just noticed through something technological that has occurred. We have just 2 more minutes left, but that takes us up. So we're about 5 minutes shorter than we ought to, but we basically covered the main things here. So David, just give your opinion on Mark's team quickly. It's FF Scout Mark, that is. Aubameyang and Aguero up top with Wilson, Richarlison, Salah, Mkhitaryan, and Sessegnon. That's the attack there, and then he's got quite a nice defence: Mendy, Alonso, and Trent Alexander-Arnold. Sounds balanced to me. You happy with that?
Yeah, definitely very balanced. And I really like that he's going with Alexander-Arnold, because I think there's a potential there for him to not necessarily match Robertson, because I think Robertson is just a cut above. But to save that million, and Alexander-Arnold loves putting crosses in. He's going to get some returns, and obviously he's in that Liverpool defence, so he's the one I like the most from that team.
Okay, yeah. No, I think so too. Anyway, we're going to have to wrap up. I think this was hopefully a success. Hopefully people have enjoyed it. We're going to have guests on all the time. Hopefully FPL General will be here as well. David will be here regularly. We're going to get Mark on as well. It'd be great if we can get him on next week about his wildcard and how it's fared. And also, FPL General, hopefully you are still available, and hoping to have you as our guest on the Scoutcast as well next week. So
yes, looking forward to it.
Looking forward to that as well. So for now, David and FPL General, thanks a lot. Hope you've all enjoyed it. See you again soon.